So I wanted to come with the channel that I have. This channel is from the Phoenix. The Phoenix is one of my patron or matron goddesses. It's one of the energies that has always been with me, and it's one that I highly resonate with. This is the rebirth energy, and I was just receiving a download which helped me to better understand myself, and perhaps it can help other people with this Phoenix, fiery, light worker kind of energy. It's a very interesting kind of light worker, the one that I am. But maybe it can help other people who embody this energy. To be quite honest, I haven't really met many people who embodied the energy of the Phoenix, but I would love to meet more people in this soul type. Okay, so throughout my life, there's always been a movement to my environment depending on how I was. How do I even explain that? I have always been able to shift my environment and shift my reality, even from a very young age. If there were thoughts that I ruminated on, I could see those would manifest into my reality. It could be from having a dream and then that's next manifesting into my reality, or maybe I just get a hunch. I've always been very intuitive. I've always been extremely claircognizant, very tuned into the Akashic record. I was always interested in a lot of these things from a young age. I was basically a sponge in the last cycle of my life. I just spent those 3 decades actually, because I'm turning 30 this year. I spent the last 3 decades of my life soaking up different information, different knowledge. I was the only pre-teenager that I knew who had read the Bible and the Quran and the Talmud and the Hindu text, and super obsessed with different forms of mythology. It was interesting because I always felt more drawn to the history that they were labeling as mythology than the actual history that was being taught in school. So I was very much a self-learner, because I learned at a young age that not everyone has an understanding of knowledge or the understanding of truth. I was raised Baptist Christian, and in the church that I was raised in, they would just quote things and say that it was in the Bible, and no one would question it, would question whether it was right or not, or even if it was in the Bible, that wasn't questioned because everyone just assumed it was there. So then, me reading the book, and I was able to memorize a lot of it at that age. I've always had a pretty sharp memory when it came to that. My memory is definitely lacking in other areas, but when it comes to remembering different forms of knowledge, that's always been a strong suit of mine. And it would just blow my mind that they would quote a scripture in the Bible and then I would not see it there. Even if I just picked up the Bible and looked at the verse they referenced and saw that they could be saying something that was not there. So that, for me, that had a big impact on me when I was younger for some reason. I felt like I was in a nut house. That's what going to a Christian church, and again, I'm not disrespecting anyone's religion. Some people have very positive experiences when it comes to Christianity. For me, it just never felt at home. And I was in a family that was very absorbed. My grandparents were very involved in the church as deaconesses. My grandfather eventually became chairman of the deacon board. We sang on the choir. We ushered there. We were there for Bible study. I taught vacation Bible school. So we were just very involved in the church. So I think that led me to always be interested in religion, but there was just this aspect of Christianity that never really resonated for me, and that sort of made me hungry for different kinds of knowledge. That's when I started. I also was raised in a very diverse place, so I met people of different religions, and instead of being closed-minded like a lot of people were around me, I was very interested in having people talk to me about their religion, not because I was interested in converting, but I was interested in gaining that knowledge. And that's interesting because eventually around high school time, I ran into Eric Von Daniken, the person who, what was the name of the book? Astronauts of the Gods or something like that. I'm not sure if I'm quoting. Chariot of the Gods. And that book really resonated with me because it was something that I was always thinking within. I also read books that were banned from the Bible. You know, I was very interested in that rebel kind of energy growing up. I wasn't outwardly rebellious, but I think when it came to knowledge, I was sort of like very internally rebellious. So my sort of internal way of rebelling against Christianity was reading different types of religion, and that really helped me expand. Going back to Eric Von Daniken, this was something that he talked about in Chariots of the Gods. He talked about, I was also very interested in anthropology, astrology, archaeology, especially, and I would watch how there were parallels, you know, for instance, the pyramids, how they were all the same dimension, and, you know, how there could have been some kind of electric current that, you know, birds could have communicated that way. Or as far as going into Eric Von Daniken's work, looking at how, you know, the gods that people were worshiping as gods could have potentially have been aliens or beings from other dimensions, other realms, other planets even. So that got me interested in astrophysics, and I really love someone named Michio Kaku. He's an astrophysicist, and he would talk about string theories and wormholes and nebulas and gamma rays, and I just soaked up all of that information when I was younger, as you can see. So there's lots of different, you know, and I guess I didn't realize I was doing it. It was always more interesting to me to learn something than to, like, say, go out partying. I don't know. That's just always been the type of person that I was. So that was my idea of fun. Having that knowledge was, it was extremely important to me. It's something that I really enjoy, not just felt like I had to do. I just literally enjoy learning new things. So I don't think I realized that I had so many different tidbits of knowledge until I started meeting other people. And that's always interesting for me because I guess my reality has always been different. Again, I've always been a magical person. I've always been able to bend, manipulate my reality. Alchemy, just a lot of the things that people work towards, you know, like Kundalini. I had no idea that the energy I would feel in my back from time to time, it's an energy that I can just awaken automatically. I had no idea that was a Kundalini energy. It was just something that I've always done. And I think that a lot of women, or, you know, a lot of just feminine energies, I should say, because there are a lot of feminine energies born in men's bodies, especially now as we're moving into the age of Aquarius. But what I'm trying to say is I think a lot of feminine energies can resonate to a certain extent with some of the things that I say. I just did it in a very extreme way because I am the embodiment of the divine feminine. So I just did it in a very extreme, very loud, very blatant way. So you could have done it in a small way. Maybe you could have, you know, been really curious about one particular topic or maybe a few topics, instead of just, you know, like a large amount of topics like I sort of branched into. But anyway, let me see what else I'm getting from this Phoenix energy. I feel like it's just like a huge awakening and a huge rebirth coming to the human collective during the 8/8 portal. This is something that I've been feeling strongly. But I'm also really curious to see how other people, I see a lot of people, I think, you know, it is hard for me sometimes. So I used to really like watching other people's tarot readings and, you know, listening to astrology and stuff like that. You know, when it comes to social media, or at least what I'm noticing on YouTube, there's a lower vibration that's really spreading, and it's a lower vibration that's spreading all over the planet. It's sort of like something that Gaia is doing to purge herself. Mother Earth is purging herself right now. Mother Earth is preparing for a rebirth. Therefore, humans and every other collective, bird collective, lyra and cat, feline collectives, everyone's going through a rebirth right now, because the planet we're on, Mother Gaia, she is going through a major rebirth. So I feel like in this effort of purge, I've noticed a vibration that's almost in longing. There are a lot of people, when I say a lower vibration, there are a lot of people stuck in limbo. There was supposed to be a leap. At this point, everyone should be leaping into a new life. There are many people on the planet who are trying to hold on to their old lives. They're trying to wait for things to be the way that they always were. They're trying to wait for things to go back to how they were in the past. A lot of people are stuck, and it's dragging down the vibration. But again, this is all happening with a reason, because there's just like a wane. There's almost like an energy of judgment. The energy of judgment has been really strong in my reality. There's an energy of judgment right now, and I even feel myself projecting this onto other people in my reality. That's how I can always sense what's going on with Mother Earth, because I'm seeing what's going on with myself internally and in my outer world as well. Because again, I am very connected to that divine feminine energy, that Mother Goddess Gaia kind of energy would be my matron goddess. We all embody certain energies, and this is just the one that I embody, the archetype that I've always incarnated in. This is a role that I've played for Spirit for a very long time, since the beginning, actually. And it was just always interesting knowing all of this at a young age. I think there was a part of me, I'm going to get back to what I was saying about the vibration, but I want to channel some other information that's coming out. I think there was always something that also feminine energies you may be able to relate to. It's like an aspect of you that naturally thinks you're crazy, no matter how much what you're saying makes sense, no matter how much evidence you find for it, no matter how much validation you may get. There's something inherently, I feel like, inside of feminine energies that makes them want to deny their power, that makes them think they're crazy. And that's what happened during colonialism, which was basically the patriarch taking over and suppressing the divine feminine. That's what colonialism is. That's what happened to the planet. This planet was better in balance. I mean, even though it was more on a matriarch side, it was very female run. So that's what's happening now. That energy is just being balanced out. And we're coming off of when the divine masculine was exalted and the divine feminine was suppressed. Now the divine feminine is, being exalted again. And the world, human collective, is trying to grapple with how to better understand the divine masculine. I think, and again, I know I'm floating around on topics, but this is just how I channel. I think that there's... because this is something that I'm reflecting the energies in the human collective, and I feel like something the human collective is grappling with right now is how to view the divine masculine energy. I think there's this misconception that naturally masculine traits are toxic masculinity, and that's not true. That's absolutely not true. There are some, the masculine energy is the masculine energy. It is literally the opposite of the feminine energy, and that's how they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be on either end of the polarity. So divine masculine at his highest is the opposite of the divine feminine at her highest point. So there are some traits that are masculine that I feel like, because it's caused so much pain in the last cycle, it's really being beaten up right now. And I really don't want to see what happened to the divine feminine happen to the divine masculine, because the only reason why the divine feminine was suppressed so much was because she had this era of really reigning over the divine masculine. This was when, what we're stepping into now, you'll see that women naturally are going to be the leaders, because women are very connected to magic, even though, again, we are shifting. And in a way that the universe is balancing this out is that there are a lot of feminine energies being born in masculine bodies. And this is in a way sort of blending. Instead of divine masculine, divine feminine being on opposite ends of the spectrum, it's more coming together. But there are still going to be divine masculine energies who are divine masculine at its highest point. And we need to make sure that we make space for these energies as well, whether they're born in a man's body or a woman's body. We have to make sure that we make room for the masculine traits, for the masculine energy, because it is just as beautiful and worthy of exaltation as a divine feminine. It's just the divine feminine is recovering from all of the pain that she has experienced. So that's another energy, like I was saying, this all has to do with rebirth energy. This all has to do with the earth being reborn, and therefore we're all being reborn on an individual level. Like I was saying, I feel like a lot of the feminine energies, you may also be in tune with this energy. You may have experienced like your life feeling like it's at a crossroad, feeling like there are major decisions you need to make. You need to really figure out how you're going to shift your life. You're making really big choices. This is something that everyone in the human collective, young, old, that everyone should be dealing with. And like I said, some people are in a way stuck in limbo because either you have not made that decision, or you're still at that sort of trial when you're working to make a decision. You're still at that stage. Or some people have just decided to, since they can't go back to the past, pretend that things are the way they are in the past, so everyone's basically being faced with a lot of decisions now, and that all has to do with this beautiful rebirth energy. But like I was saying, the divine feminines of the highest vibration, these are not just like the divine feminine energy that I'm talking about right now, like a part of the archetype that I embody. This is not just embodying a higher energy without rhyme or reason. This is a divine feminine who was just oppressed, who was just beaten down, who just went through it, right? There are many divine feminine energies who suffered and went through hell in the last cycle of life, because we were just mirroring what was happening to the earth, what happened to the earth. The divine feminine energy was really battered and bruised. It was lots of karma. It was lots of pain. It was lots of suffering. It was painful. So what's beautiful is a lot of these women who may have felt like nothing ever worked out for you in life, or things just didn't go your way, or you were just super misunderstood, or no matter what you did, it wasn't good enough, or you couldn't win. Those of you who fought day and night, even when things seemed tough, even when there was suffering, there was pain, you felt like you couldn't take it anymore. It was so agonizing, you felt like you couldn't go one day more. But you did, and you kept going, and you kept going, and you finally saw that light at the end of the tunnel. This is the light at the end of the tunnel. That's what the Phoenix energy is about. And that's what's so beautiful, because I felt this energy transmute in myself, and that's how I'm able to better describe it to you in the human collective. Because again, because of my soul type, my background, I spent those beginning decades of my life learning things that's going to assist in my purpose. And my purpose is to awaken people through my words. That's a big part. Even no matter what setting I go into, when I speak, people tend to listen. And that's not something that always happened. I first had to feel like what it was like for a very, very, very long time to speak and have no one listen, or to speak and feel like no one could hear you, So those same things that you suffered, your pain is your power. I feel like I've said this in a video before, but your pain is definitely your power. So all of that pain, if you can just, anyone listening to this, any type of pain that you went through, it's going to turn into your power, especially the major ones. The major pains are going to turn into major powers and blessings. So it's a very beautiful energy. I feel like there are a lot of people, because they're stuck in that limbo stage, and, depending on what your journey was, there are a lot of people who are just suffering right now, and those divine feminine energies who absolutely deserve it and have earned this sort of respite, this sort of chariot moment, this sort of moment of abundance, this miracle moment is coming. This Phoenix energy, it also goes into the Messiah archetype, because the Phoenix energy, the Messiah energy, it's the same. These are energies that need to be reborn. These are energies that live and suffer in their life, then they die and are reborn. It is the rebirth energy. So these energies are really, really stepping up, because as a way to purge, if there was I feel like the energy capitalized on any darkness that was there. If there was any kind of darkness festering, if there was any darkness or any things that you were hiding, any things that you knew were issues before, but you still ignored it, if there was any of that kind of stuff just sitting there, what the upcoming years did was bring it out in a major way for you to face it. Some people, it brought it out, and some people do what they do, which is just pretend it's nothing there. Change is not something that can happen without your action. You have to want to change. You have to want to have a change in your life in order for change to happen. So I feel like there are some people who just chose not to change or chose to pretend like, this is when delusions come. There's going to be lots of delusions. People are just pretending like life is grand. And then it's like you get this big old wake-up call. And it's like, oh, shit. Things aren't peachy. Things aren't perfect. Like, there are things hidden in the dark. There are things that I could be working on. It's judgment. It's this energy of judgment. We've been in a very apocalyptic energy. And this energy is shifting in a major way during the Lionsgate portal. It is shifting in a major, major, major way. So this Lionsgate portal is linked to the Phoenix energy as well, because both are linked to the energy of the sun, which is not just a masculine energy. The energy of the sun is neutral. I think because the masculine was revered, only the masculine was identified with the sun, but no, the energy of the sun has very feminine aspects, just like fire. A flame has both a feminine and a masculine aspect. That's why when you light certain flames, you see the blue and you see the orange color of the flame, the blue being the feminine, the orange color being the masculine aspect of the flame. But just expect a major rebirth, this could be sort of like some of the things I listed, like just things coming out that were hidden in the dark. That's what it's going to be for a lot of people. A lot of people are about to get called out. Their shit is coming out. And there's some people who work overtime to keep their shit in. And it's coming out. The sun is like literally, it's like people trying to hide in the dark, and then the sun comes out and it's like, where are you gonna hide? We see you. That's the energy that's coming strong during the 8-8 portal. But again, just try to figure out what vibration you're on. The best way to help with this is to just release that energy yourself. And this is not something that people need to get worried about, like, oh, I don't even know, is there something in the dark? Like, you would know, because it'll be something that was coming up. You would know, because it'll be something, I'm talking about, like, you would know something's hidden in the dark because you will be actively trying to hide it. And you would know because you would be seeing, like, people who hide things in the dark, that's why they also sneak around, because they don't want people to see. They don't want people to know. So, excuse the sirens. But yeah, this is basically a major rebirth, but there's also a high vibration. Like I was saying before, even though a lot of people are in a lower vibration, that does not mean that everyone is. Like, if you have been able to look at your life and see the blessings and be grateful for things, like if you really do feel blessed about your life and grateful, not just trying to find things to be grateful for, but if you feel like you've been getting blessed, those blessings were a taste of the energy that's to come. It's a very expansive energy. It feels like Jupiter. It feels like Ganesha. It feels like abundance. It feels golden. It feels miraculous. It feels like Mother Mary. It's a very beautiful energy that's coming during this Lionsgate portal. So what's happening, is those who are open. Like, you've been receiving those blessings, because it's almost like someone has gold coins. And there are some buckets that have lids on them, and there are some buckets that are open. Like, if your bucket was open, you would know, because you would have been getting your gold coins. And if it's closed, you wouldn't have noticed it, So there are some major blessings about to come. That's the energy that I just received. It's such a beautiful energy. It's such a deliciousness to this energy, which is interesting, because it's just like, have you ever had a dish? For me, my preference is desserts. I love desserts. I love desserts more than breakfast. I mean, I love breakfast because you can have lots of desserts for breakfast, but I love desserts. And it's like, have you ever tasted the perfect dessert? Or you ever made something, because I'm a baker and I love cooking. Have you ever made something and it just tastes so perfect, and it's just, you just sit there and you indulge and you just enjoy it and you eat it mindfully? I feel like that's the energy of this blessing that's coming, of the energy of the 8-8 portal that's coming. And it's just like, You want your bucket to be open. Like, you want to be open to this energy, absolutely. Because it's not just like, oh, these are the good people, these are the bad people. Like, the universe is not some paternalistic, masculine energy, that's going to be like, you need to earn this or you don't deserve this. Like, that's not what it is. It's simply open. Simply claim it, like simply open. And then when things come up in your life to help you open, allow it to happen instead of fighting against it or denying it. And again, I know it's not super simple. Change is not easy, but you have to suffer through that pain. It's just like, when you were in school and you had to run that mile, and it's like, you can sit there and bitch about having to run a mile in gym class, or at least where the schools I grew up in. Gym class, you had to run a mile. You can sit there and bitch about it like I would, because I did not like running. Or you can just get and run the mile, right? So it's like, that's what the energy is like. You gotta if pain is standing in between you and these blessings, I would go through whatever kind of pain you gotta go through. And I'm not saying that as someone who's never went through pain. I went through a lot of pain. You cannot be an embodiment of the divine feminine energy and not go through pain, because the divine feminine just went through hell. This is me telling you from the other side, go through that pain so you can get those blessings, so you can step into your power, so you can see what your power truly is. So that's the message that I got from the Phoenix. It sounds like this also has something to do with the Lionsgate portal that's coming out. I think a final message that I'm getting right now is something about the third eye. So when I say blessings, a lot of people just think materialistic stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I do feel a lot of material blessing, Jupiter kind of energy, abundance, money, like prosperity. I do feel a lot of that kind of energy, but they're also reminding me about the third eye. So you can also be blessed when it comes with insight. You can be blessed with truth. You can be blessed with knowledge. If you think about it, light is just a blessing in itself. Like, it literally provides everything that is on this planet, like the sun, the light, that relationship between Gaia and the sun, right? So this is just being open. Either way, Gaia is getting this energy. The whole planet is getting this energy rained down on her. Make sure that you open as much as possible so that you can receive it. And then also, just be tuned into your third eye. So some of you may be getting visions. Some of you could be doing journeys. Some of you could be channeling like this, or you could feel compelled to channel. Or maybe what I mean by that, people who don't understand what channeling is, like a lot of people channel, but they just call it like talking to themselves. But a lot of the time, I mean, technically that's what you're doing, but you're channeling your higher self. And there's great knowledge and wisdom that can come through your mouth, but you have to actually let the words come out. You have to actually express it. So for me, this could be telling some of you, especially some of you who may feel like you're in limbo, to try to express your third eye, and this could also mean like a blessing to the third eye, a shifting in your reality. You could develop some kind of third eye gift, some kind of third eye power. That could be something that's sweeping through the planet, is what Gaia is telling me. There are a lot of third eyes are going to become awakened and activated. So being awakened is just like taking that bucket that we were talking about earlier, that we're receiving the coins, taking a bucket and pouring it off. That's just like being awakened. But being activated, maybe that's when the bucket like transforms bigger, and now it can take even more coins, or maybe it like just transforms into another object. Like, activation is the step up from awakening, because that's when it's like, that gift is there. You're fully connected to it, and it's connected in its higher way. Like something that is like an energy of a union that's coming to. So there could be that during the 8-8 portal, you may meet someone important who's going to be in your life for a while. There could be soulmate, there could be twin flame. There are always possibilities for twin flame unions when it comes to double numbers like the 8-8 portal. So that's something that's up to. And then something else when it comes to women's health that's going to be big in the human collective during this 8-8 portal. Not sure what it is, but I feel like, again, this is something that's going to have a high vibration to it and a low vibration, because that's just what that's just how it is in this reality. But that's all I have for this channeling. Stay tuned for the next one. Sending you all lots of love, light, and prosperity.